A.W. Tozer famously observed that what comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. Yet we frequently try to understand the creator of the universe by filtering him through our own deeply limited human experiences. Take the courtroom, for example. When we look at a human judge, we expect two things that usually pull in opposite directions: fairness and compassion. If that judge lets a guilty person walk free out of kindness, he fails his duty to the law. But if he enforces the maximum penalty for every single infraction flawlessly, mercy disappears. In our world, these concepts fight each other. Projecting that same limitation upward creates a severe theological problem. We end up assuming God's own attributes are engaged in a constant tug-of-war, forcing him to choose between being loving and being fair. To resolve this tension, we must look past human limitations. God's moral attributes are the active reality of how the Creator interacts with his creation. It begins with truth. In a divine context, truth means God is the singular standard of what is real. He is incapable of lying, and his character cannot change. That truth is paired with wisdom. God possesses perfect, limitless insight into all things, and he executes that knowledge across every circumstance. Because that truth and wisdom are infinite, we run straight into a dilemma. How can the moral governor of the universe be perfectly just, demanding a penalty for every wrong, while also being perfectly good, showing infinite mercy, at the exact same time? This is a practical crisis. If his character is divided, or if he has to compromise one trait to satisfy another, it becomes impossible for humanity to actually trust him. In the ancient scriptures, justice and righteousness form the unshakable foundation of God's throne. Because he is holy and separate from evil, his justice demands a consequence. Every act of rebellion and every wrongdoing must be fully addressed and penalized to satisfy that righteous standard. Pushing directly against that demand for judgment is God's goodness. This is his act of mercy and compassion aimed squarely at the world he made. That goodness takes the form of grace, the biblical term for one-way love. It is unmerited favor actively given to people who have done nothing to deserve it. This leaves humanity caught in a profound crossfire. We are trapped between a perfect justice that requires our penalty and an infinite goodness that aggressively desires our restoration. The unifying force that holds all of this together is love. Biblical love, often translated from the ancient words agape or hesed, defines his essential nature. Modern culture often misinterprets this. Biblical love is neither a blind, emotionless choice, nor a vague tolerance that simply ignores wrongdoing. Instead, we find a love that is contra-conditional. God extends his love to us in direct opposition to what our actions have actually earned. The collision of these forces reached a physical manifestation in the first century. The crucifixion of Jesus represents the historical convergence of these attributes. The cross reconciled these competing demands. Divine justice required the shedding of blood to address human rebellion, yet divine goodness provided the ultimate substitute to pay that penalty on our behalf. The Apostle Paul summarizes this in his letter to the Romans, declaring that through the cross, God is both just and the justifier. The attributes did not contradict, they perfectly intersected. We see now that God never bends his character to relate to us. He acts in love because he is entirely just, and he acts justly because his very nature is love. Because these moral attributes are permanent, you can build your entire life upon them without fear of the foundation cracking. His unchanging truth means our reality will not shift underneath our feet. His infinite wisdom ensures that the guidance he provides for our lives is never flawed. His justice guarantees that every ultimate wrong will eventually be made right. And his goodness ensures your daily failures are consistently met with restorative grace. The universe is governed by a perfect person whose nature is love in action, rather than a cold, paradoxical set of rules.